Uncle Frank.
What's going on, fellas, man? How y'all guys doing today? And family, we got a new topic for y'all this evening, man. It's something controversial. I'm just getting home, being out here in these streets and hearing what people had to say. So we're gonna give y'all, as usual, some real stories, dealing with some real situations outside in the real world. Um, it's something hot and heated that we need to discuss. I'm Uncle Frank, and what I got today, man, is I changed it up a little bit. I'm trying some Hennessy and pineapple juice.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite uncle, Uncle Lewis, aka Uncle Lou. Welcome. We got a real good topic tonight. I hope everybody enjoy it. Hit like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tonight, I'm following Uncle Paulo's last week. He had an IPA, so I'm gonna get me a Sweetwater Day Trip IPA. So I'll be sipping on this tonight while we discuss our very important topic.
All right, what's up, everybody? This Big Daddy, Triple OG, and as always, like I love my Georgia peaches. I'm sipping on that peach Ciroc as always. Like I hope y'all enjoy this topic tonight. Uh, as Frank said, real stories, real situation in the real world.
I'm confused because they don't look like pizza rock.
Oh shit! That damn. I mean, peach. Getting my
You've
shit
been
all
drinking,
Hey,
ready.
ain't
no Diddy. No Diddy. Yeah, somebody got Diddy on their
Ah,
mind.
somebody got that video on their mind.
you? It is on my mind. All right, fam. This OG Benson here with you. I'm finishing off this tequila I've been drinking on. Some pretty good drink. I'm definitely gonna go get me another bottle of this. Don't ask me about how to pronounce it. I'll show it to you.
And last but not least, you know it is Mr. P, producer extraordinary. Uh, for I don't know what I was gonna say, but tonight I'm sipping on a little Knob Creek 9 year age whiskey. So this topic is I'm gonna have to take a couple drinks because it's important. But it's really controversial and it's something that really needs to be discussed because it is impacting our community in a real way.
Okay, gentlemen, man, we've had so many conflicting um discussions from different people as to how they feel about these situations. So Carlos, man, roll the clip so we can just get into what we're trying to get into and let the people understand how we feel as the unks and the OGs.
Right. So I'm gonna share with you guys our first topic. Um, if you are in the Atlanta area, you know you've seen this story. You may have heard this story. Been going around. I think there's a video. Make sure we got the video. You got some screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what's it?
I'm hearing a little feedback. There you go. And this story is about a legendary basketball coach in DeKalb County is accused of spanking one of his students. If you're familiar with Decatur from the west side, Columbia High School, guy's been around for a while.
And
Um,
Paulo Decatur is on the east side.
yeah, Columbia High School. It's on east side, yeah, east side. Decatur where is greater, as some people call it, but let me make sure I get it. All right, I have to refresh it.
And all of us guys were in some sort of capacity when we were younger, when we had an adult that we had to answer to in certain situations. And those adults are being our parents as well as the administration at the schools had to trust those people.
Some of his players with a shoe. Channel
Okay, here
2's
we go.
Tom
You
Jones.
guys hear it? Let me start it over
Yeah.
for you. Here we go.
The right decision to let a legendary coach go after video showed him hitting some of his players with a shoe. Channel 2's Tom Jones live now in DeKalb County. And Tom, the mother says her son was on the team and saw what happened.
Yeah, the mother says her son was in that hotel room that day and was mentally bothered by it all. As you can see, Coach Dr. Phil McCrary has his name on this gymnasium at Columbia High, but now the district says he's no longer employed here.
This is not about basketball. This is about you abusing your authority as a teacher and a coach.
This parent, who did not want us to show her face out of fear of retaliation, is talking about this video she showed us. We blurred it because of the sensitive nature of it. She says it shows legendary Columbia High School basketball coach Dr. Philip McCrary telling one of his players to lower his pants, and then he forcibly hits him on his backside with the shoe several times.
To me, it's perverted. Honestly, I think it's perverted.
She says the coach also hit another player after he learned they brought a girl to their hotel room during a trip to the Bahamas in November. The mother says the coach then told the players not to say anything.
What happens in the Bahamas stays in the Bahamas.
I just left Coach McCrary's home where I tried to get a comment about all of this. I asked if he had a second to talk. He told me no. I asked if he had a comment. I didn't get a response.
The school district told me the safety of its students is their highest priority, and Coach McCrary is no longer employed with the district as of June 2nd. This mother's son left the team and school recently. She says he saw what happened and it really affected him.
He shut down. He became quiet, kind of distant.
And the school district says it could not discuss personnel matters, so we don't know if the coach was terminated or allowed to resign. I'm Tom Jones.
Okay, fellas, we seen that and today while I was out bouncing around, so I would just ask random people what they thought. Um, but I want to get the perspective of 6 fathers, 6 men, opposed to talking to women about this situation. I talked to several women, my neighbors. I even asked a young lady when we was in Publix today. I even asked this young lady what she thought about that situation. Um, Today's society is so different than it was when we grew up. So, Vincent, I want you to start this off, sir, and give me your honest perspective from
Well,
A to Z.
for me, my perspective, I grew up in a time where I still authoritize my kids or use, discipline in the same fashion as they were growing up, as to where if you got in trouble, you got disciplined by the adult supervisor of the place you got in trouble at. That was reported to your parents. You probably got another discipline at home, which spankings, um, I mean, that was the norm. We got spankings in school, we got spankings at home. I have no issues with it. I have no quarrels with it. I was raised in a fashion, spare the rod, spoil the child. And I still believe in that to this day. Even so much to I discipline my grandchildren in the same way. I know it's a different day and time now, but I do feel like that is a big problem with our youth today. Um, Children fear their parents like you fear God, or supposed to fear God. Back in my, growing up. Now there's no fear. There's no respect.
Mhm.
There's no respect for authority. There's These children don't respect anything, and I think it's causing a huge problem. And I totally disagree with that parent's take on saying that she feel like it was perverted, and that she had an issue with it. I disagree with her.
Okay. Triple OG, take off, man. Let me hear your perspective on it.
Unmute yourself, Tori.
First of all, I'm with the parent. Keep your hands off other people's kids. Like Vincent said, back in our day, yes, we did get whoopings. I remember in elementary, we got whooped with the paddle, the ruler, and everything. But yes, you can still respect the kid. He can respect you, but his ways on how to do it. Laying him on the bed, telling him to drop his pants. Yeah, I felt I can see being looking at him like, hey, I'm kind of being outcast to a certain extent. You can discipline other different ways, but no, that laying him on the bed and whipping him.
You know.
That coach, first of all, that coach knew better. If he didn't know he was doing wrong, why would he even tell the kids that what happens in Bahamas stays in Bahamas? He knew it was wrong. So by him
Yes,
being an
sir.
old, huh? oh, that's Frank.
We we listen. We
Go
listen.
ahead.
Keep going.
No. I'm just saying but to reiterate what I was saying, he knew what he was doing was wrong because that's why he said what happens in Bahamas stays in Bahamas. You can discipline kids in a different way, and to me it was he deserved to lose his job. And number one, he's an old coach and he's been there for a while. Of course, he still had them old ways, but he knew exactly what he was doing. And
So
you should have. Go ahead.
triple OG, the guy had been there so long that his name is on the building. So do you think he's not trustworthy? Do
It's
you
not
think
being it's not being trustworthy, Frank. I'm just saying the point was okay. So that means just because his name on the building, do he get a pass for doing stuff like that? No, that was humiliating doing that little boy like that. I mean,
okay,
yeah, I get it. You can still punish it. You can still punish a child in ways instead of putting your hands on him. He could have made him do a bunch of push-ups, do 50 push-ups. You can still get your point across instead of whipping the kid. I just think it was a little perverted to me. Yeah, it's old school, but we talking about different times. It's certain things you do, you just cannot.
Well,
That's just my
let me
opinion.
interject. Let me interject a point in here and get your take on it. Sorry, just to
but
add a
hold
little
on.
context to it. I just want to add a context to it and just see does this how he responds on that. Does the punishment fit the crime, being that they were in a foreign country and there were they brought some girls who we don't know the status of the girls. We don't know if they were underage. We don't know how far they went with them. We don't know the circumstance around there. So with that context, does that context matter? That your child is away in a foreign country, putting themselves and everyone else in some type of maybe legal jeopardy? Because again, we don't know the laws in the Bahamas when it comes to underage children and whatever happened in the room, or I don't know what happened with them, but does that change context put anything into it?
Okay, even though you say they in a foreign country, Paulo, I'm not saying they shouldn't have been disciplined, but to lay him on the tell him to drop his drawers and then the whipping
He
like
didn't
that.
drop
Come
his
on, that's it.
drawers. They didn't say
He
drop his
told him to
drawers.
drop it. He told him to drop his pants. He might well drop his drawers. Yeah, I know the kids walk around with their drawers hanging,
No, let's
but
keep it in
still,
context. Now, don't he did not drop his drawers. Don't do that.
You saw the video,
no.
right?
No, I'm just saying
You
he
just
told him to
watched it.
drop his pants. He had to
Pull his
drop his
pants
pants.
down. Yes. Okay.
You might well told him
That's
to
a
drop his
difference.
drawers. What's the difference?
That's a
It's still
huge difference.
humiliating.
That's a huge difference. He did
So,
not
so, so
expose. He did not expose his private anatomy. Don't do that. You're
but
putting it in a
hold on,
whole
what you say?
different
Look,
light, in a whole different
it's still
context when you do that.
humiliating. What does it? It's still
Okay, but
humiliating.
yeah, but you're making it a sexual type thing when you said he exposed his private anatomy and he pulled his underpants down, which did not happen.
It was still humiliating for making him do that point. It's
Okay.
ways to discipline somebody, y'all. But he could have did a whole lot of other discipline instead of making the dude lay on the bed. Come on now, that's
Okay,
stuff our
You don't
gentlemen.
think
parents did back in the
the
day.
extremeness.
Okay.
You think
Okay,
it was
And
gentlemen. I
for
get.
him not to be a parent, it was unheard. Yes, he should have lost his job. But I'm
Okay,
sorry. Go ahead, Lewis.
gentlemen. Yeah. Y'all calm down because y'all got to give. You know what I'm saying? Uncle Lewis chance to get his perspective. He calmly waiting. So once everybody get their perspective, then we're gonna circle back around and have an open forum so we can really say how you feel. So Uncle Lou, jump in there, man. Tell me your perspective. Because I know you got
unmute.
kids.
Yeah, unmute yourself, Uncle Luke.
All right, so I look at it in a few different perspectives. I played sports. Playing sports is somewhat of a fraternity. Okay, what goes on at practice, what goes on the bus, what goes on at the game, what goes on in meetings stays within the meeting. If those parents didn't trust that coach, they would have never sent their children to the Bahamas with them. Or the parents would have booked the ticket also and went with their children. So something in them felt like this guy was trustworthy. I'm willing to bet my check that wasn't the first time that happened on what was on video. I'm willing to bet. Now, to Tori's point, could they have done push-ups? I'm sure in that coach's lifetime, in his career, he has made players run their bleachers, do suicide drills, pull out the trash in the school, something to that nature. But like Paulo said, you in a foreign country, bringing girls into your hotel room, not knowing what may transpire. Now, understand, not only could one of those young ladies gotten pregnant, but one of the players could have caught HIV, gonorrhea, herpes, you name it. Now, they get back to the States, and all of a sudden, the kid or one of the players are sick, bleeding from you know what, and then the mama like, how that happen, coach? What happened? So I applaud him. Again, I played sports. A lot of things transpired with Coach Chandler, Coach Walker, in our meetings, in our practices. That again, my dad came to plenty of practices, but now I never, ever heard my dad tell one of them, "Hey man, lay off my son. Don't cuss at my son. You pushing him too hard." It is what it is.
Okay. Paulos, excellent perspective, Lewis. Paulos, now you tell the fellas, how you feel about the situation, because you got more daughters than sons, so we're not gonna make this just because girls play basketball too. We're gonna look at this thing all the way around, as well as girls and boys. So, tell us what you think.
I think the punishment fit the crime, and to say that they were humiliated, maybe, but it wasn't in comparison to what could have happened or what the risk that they took. I think he took this approach because they need to understand in this new day and age of consent and Me Too, even the inclination of one of them girls saying that they were forced to do it, they were coerced to do it, they said no. Any inclination of that, and that boy, those boys' life and freedom is in jeopardy. We know of local stuff happening where someone accused an athlete of doing something and come to find out that they lied. So for me, the punishment fit the crime because again, as young men, we all went through that puberty, and we're not thinking with the right head. But when you're in a foreign country, again, we don't know what the laws are, the rules are. We don't know who these young ladies were with. We don't know their race, their background. We don't know anything about it. So again, it was a good point that Lewis brought up, that they could have ended it in some type of pregnancy or some disease, or again, they could have been arrested, because we know that we're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. Some young black men are not going to get the benefit of the doubt. So him being an old school coach, probably coming across that situation before or having some experience, he knows that anything could go left real quick on one of them boys. And next thing you know, you got to call the parents and say, your son's been arrested in the Bahamas, and he's being accused of this and that and that. And then again. So,
And you know what? Sir,
Let me jump in for 1 second, man. I want to put it a little bit different perspective on it. All right, Frank made a statement earlier, and noted that this man's name is on the building, on the gymnasium building. This man has been there for quite some time. This coach is a type of coach. He's invested in these children.
and the
He's
community.
invested
Mhm.
in the community. He's invested in their future, in their progress, and their success. Somebody else made a comment like, okay, I was always the type, my kids didn't go to certain things growing up because I didn't know the parent. I didn't know the kid that they were going to the house party. If I didn't know, you wouldn't go. That's the rule. Now, maybe next time if I get to know him, I might get to know him and still have the same take. It just depends on the level of responsibility I have on the environment I'm putting my kids into. So that being said, these parents have been around this coach. If you trust him enough to take your kids from here to the Bahamas, and you remain here, you didn't chaperone, but you don't trust his discipline. I'm not sure how long that young man had been with the team, but I'm sure he didn't just start that year.
And see,
There's a
sir,
whole lot of factors that play to the coach's favor. There's some rumors that I don't want to. I don't know if true or not, but regardless of the rumors of why the kid's parent took that approach, I feel like it was an injustice to that coach. I feel like it was an injustice to those kids in that team because they no longer have this responsible adult in place that's going to help mentor these children.
yeah, a lot was lost. Definitely, sir, a lot was lost. Because I remember, and I don't know if you guys remember this, because Lewis, the statement he made really opened my eyes to make me think about when we was in high school and we graduated from high school. Because this is what happens, people. When you leave the United States, those people in different countries, those foreign countries, they have different laws. So I want to know, do you guys remember the young white guys that caught stealing in China and they caned them? Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. It was
I do.
some
I
white
remember.
teams.
Yep.
They came.
Yeah.
They came their ass. I remember that.
Yeah, they caned them. I remember this clearly. So, guys, the stuff Lewis said really opened my mind because when I was asking people these things, that perspective never entered my mind that these kids being in the Bahamas, that could have been an international incident because it didn't take but one of them little girl to say they raped me. Now
Yeah.
the coach is going to jail because he is the responsible and the legal adult at the time because they had to sign permission slips for him to be in charge. A whole lot happened. And as I'm thinking about it, the parents should have been nervous for her child, even now, instead of worried about him, not him getting a spanking, but he is traumatized because he's seen someone else get a spanking.
Get disciplined for
Yeah.
bad behavior.
That says a lot
That's,
right
that
there.
Yeah,
is
that says a lot. I mean,
that's
that does
That
amazing.
says a lot
Yeah,
right there.
That's
He didn't even
amazing.
get hit. Somebody else
Okay,
got hit.
okay. Let me
Go ahead.
interject.
So,
Okay,
Go
I hear what
ahead, go
y'all
ahead,
saying.
Tim.
I hear y'all totally what y'all saying. And y'all, I'm not saying what the kid did wasn't wrong. I'm not saying international laws are bad. But at the same time, with what Lewis injected on, okay, he's a coach, and I heard what Vincent said, like, hey, this man has a leg, his name on the building. Now, I'm gonna mention one name y'all forgot. Have y'all ever heard of a person called Joe Paterno? You
Yes.
understand? So
Hmm.
Joe
yeah.
Paterno, it was a lot of stuff that was going on behind in his program, behind the scene. He took a blind eye to. So
Hmm.
y'all saying yes, this coach probably always been doing with them kids like that. So it don't mean just because he was doing it was right. That's what I'm just
But
saying. I'm just saying on that point. There's a
I
lot
think
of
you
things that were
support
going
the
on.
argument, Tori. Tori, you supported the argument by saying Joe Paterno. Because again, this coach is setting this boy up for life. Because again, even if he lost his job, I bet you that young man, those young men, before they bring some other girl or put themselves in a situation that could go left, which we know happens all the time, he gonna think
Of
about
course,
that.
but of
You see what
course,
I'm
so
saying?
I still say I'm not saying he shouldn't be punished. I'm just saying in this day and age, making kids pull their pants down and to whoop them like that is humiliating. It's humiliating. And you
Okay,
just
so
it's one thing
let's
is your
I
parents.
think this is the coach. This was the coach's mindset. The reason I can say because I could see myself in that same position, taking that same approach. Because at the time of the incident, suppose that coach hadn't caught on to what was going on with that kid at the
mhm.
time, and the authorities got a hold of that child. They caught those kids in the room. Say it was laws here like underage sex is illegal.
Illegal.
So say the authorities,
Illegal.
the authorities had caught those children. Now they're in a position where the coach can't help, mama can't help. Hell, you got to get the government involved.
Yeah.
Like nobody's thinking about the ramifications of if this coach wasn't there and caught it at the time he did.
Vincent, let
And,
me tell
And
you
he's
something
just
that
trying
people
to make
yeah.
a very impactful position to this kid. Like
To the whole
you
team.
got to think about what you're doing immediately. Like there's ramifications that it takes an immediate action to
but
counteract
but fellas, let me
the
tell you
bad
something how
behavior.
serious let me tell you something how serious this could be. Because people ain't taking in consideration with these Diddy trials. Sir, the stuff that people bring against you, the allegations, they don't happen now. These people over there can talk about this next year and bring up charges against these kids now. I don't understand why this woman wants to bring attention to this. Those people get that and then bring attention and try to sue Columbia High School, sue the coach, sue the parents, and want justice. Those kids will be on their way back to Bahamas going to jail. No one
Yeah.
is
I
thinking
mean,
about that part.
well, I think again.
I guess what I'm saying to y'all, I hear y'all saying that. Like amongst y'all all got grandkids, right? So
Mhm.
you trying to tell me y'all grandkids in the nursery, and just say you got an old school nursery advisor, or just put her name on at the church building. She decide if she want to whoop y'all kid. Are y'all cool with that? You look somebody. So let's say somebody get a video, and you see a video of she taking your grandchild, whooping him right there in front of the class, make him drop his pants, not his underwear, but drop his pants and whip him right there on the spot. Are
So
y'all okay with that?
what was
It
said,
depends
Tori?
on the car. It
Yeah, see,
depends.
this is the
Watch
I'm
problem.
yourself.
not saying you can't discipline y'all. I'm just saying it's the method that
If
I'm not
You
agreeing
talking
with.
to,
if
but wait, you talking to people that's active parents in their kids' life, Tori, including yourself. We visit these schools. You don't just take your kid and roll them in a school and you just pick them up in the evening. Like you popped up at lunchtime. You popped up in the middle of the day to see what's going on. So you get involved. You have conversations with that teacher. Teacher has your direct phone number. My grandkids teachers called me because I'm the authority figure in this household, even with my grandkids, because I have my wife, my daughter is a single parent. But so I I know the teachers. If I have an issue with the teacher, we're gonna change the environment. Like I'm involved, so I'm not gonna have them in an environment where I don't touch. Now I'm not saying things don't happen. Sometimes you don't. Yeah, there are child predators. I get it, but you made a statement earlier, and that's the part that kind of bothers me. I get what you're saying wholeheartedly. You don't agree with the spanking, you agree with discipline, but you don't agree with spanking. Okay, I understand. But what I don't want to happen is take this out of context. You made the statement, somebody else made a statement on the comment. If you watch the video and go to the captions and the remarks, somebody else made the comment about, I don't agree with him pulling this boy's underwear down. He, you looking at a video, how do you make the statement his underpants were down? Like you're taking the whole thing out of context.
It's still demoralizing, man. And the only reason we know about it and the reason that parent bring it is because of this thing called a cell phone. It was recorded. I don't think
Exactly.
if it wasn't recorded, it would have got swept under the rug. And once again,
But
if he
do
did,
you agree? Do you agree that there's a difference between me spanking a child in his boxers and me spanking a child butt naked? Do you agree that there's a huge difference in that?
it still has the same effect.
No, no. I just answer my question, sir, please.
No,
I mean,
I'm
do
saying
you agree? Is there a difference?
It's a difference. No, you're not exposing his private area, but it's still demoralizing.
So you
That's
saying
not
you
the
saying a spanking is demoralizing?
No, I'm talking about the way he did that. That young man was in high school. Come on now.
So
Come
let
on.
me ask you a question.
I'm
Let me
gonna
ask
ask
you a
y'all this
question, Tori.
question. This question. How many of y'all, and we was talking yesterday, I asked Lewis, said, Lewis, when last time you got a whipping? And you say, you remember you getting punched out, you getting hit with a fist. And I remember Vince was talking, I think you, Frank said that your mama hit you with a fist. But as a teenager, I can understand nobody was getting spankings like that no more. As a teenager, you might have got hit in the chest or in the shoulder. But you telling me to
Who?
drop my pants?
And
So
let's
you telling me, Lewis, after 13, you was still getting whippings like that?
Hell yeah.
Oh well.
Yes,
See, Tori,
sir. That's why I didn't fuck around. My daddy, my daddy didn't play that.
So
But I'm gonna tell you.
did you
I
have to
thought. I
It was
thought.
no
did you have
age
to drop your
limit.
pants? Did you have to drop your
Hell
pants?
My
yeah.
mom.
Okay,
My
well.
mom was military, and I thought my mom was hell. But you let my brother and sister them tell it. My mom was soft on me because I was the baby. I was the last one, so I got away with murder. But I got my ass tore up severely several times for foolishness. Tori, I remember in an incident, and I'm gonna put our stuff up. We got in trouble back in elementary school for playing what was it, Freakin' Friday or High and Go Get or something. You remember that?
I remember.
And my mama told me up at the school.
we got in trouble for that too. And you know what the teacher, the principal did? That's what I'm trying to understand, the demoralizing part. So I'm trying to get the perspective from Tori. She
Cause
lined the boys up. We came in one at a time. Well, we was lined up. Everybody bent over on that desk. She hit your ass with that ruler, pop. Then next person, and she did it. Everybody, the whole fifth grade. I think we were like fifth grade
let
class.
me ask you this. How do you think? Wait? One question. How do you think the responsible parent felt about their child's behavior? You don't think they felt demoralized? You don't felt they felt embarrassed
very embarrassed.
because you know better. I've taught
Afraid.
you better. I raised you better. I've taught you to make better decisions.
I get y'all totally. Paulo, you talking about getting a whooping? That happened in the 80s. We all got them whoopings in 1980. We in 2025 now. You cannot whoop
Right.
kids like that no more.
And again, we'll talk.
There's a difference between 1980s and 2020s. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, let me ask you then. So, and I agree. Where's the respect level in the 80s versus now? So, in the 80s, what was the respect out of 10? Where kids respect adults?
You're right. They don't respect them at all. Yes, and it does. Parents do play a part too. Cause hey, you're right. They say you can't touch me. I'm just still saying it's a way to get your point across with the discipline than telling him to lay across the bed and pull out his pants to his underwear. Let me refer to his underwear.
I want to link this to a previous discussion we had in one of our earlier podcasts. We talked about unks and OGs fell in the YN. I think this is a big part of why. Because of the disciplined approach and the lack of discipline, which I would say is in the community and especially amongst our people now in the way we do things. I don't feel like time dictates that change. If the changes that's coming about, we're having more and more discussions about losing our youth. Our youth has no value, no respect. Like, why is that? What has changed? The change has happened because of the parents' engagement with their kids. Now, we're scared of our children. They'll call the police on us. Like, I remember me and my sons getting into it. Like, look, I know you see this stuff on the news, but I promise you, you call the police if you want to. By the time they get here, that ass gonna be.
Yes, sir. That's what I just wanted to speak on. I mean, first of all, the mother and the son saying how he felt about witnessing something like that. Shame on the mama, first of all. All right. I don't know where the father is. The father obviously isn't in that son's life. I don't know that for a fact, but that's what it seems like. But like you said, Vince, yeah, Tori, I know what you're saying. You're saying 80s is different, 90s is different. Let me tell you something. Yes, I know I can't bruise my children or my grandkids, but they gonna get their ass whooped. And if you want to go tell, if you want to go to school and tell, go ahead. But I
Hey,
be
It's a
damn.
difference between discipline and abuse.
Right.
There's
It's
a
a
difference between
difference. It's
discipline
a
and abuse.
difference. It's a difference. But I ain't. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna walk around my house or fear me disciplining you that you're gonna retaliate against me. So I'm not. I'm gonna watch what I say to you, or I'm gonna watch how I whoop you. No, I'm gonna whoop you. Now I know how to whoop you. Again, I know that I can't get a extension cord and take the extension cord straight to your skin. I get it. I understand. You got to go to school tomorrow, and I don't want to see have visible whips and stuff like that visible for the teachers to see. But at the end of the day, I got to do what I got to do, because if I don't, somebody else's mother and father is going to discipline my children, and it could be with a gun. All
yeah.
because I spared the rod. All because I feared them, or how they feared. I mean, thought about me.
And Lewis,
Hey,
I'm so happy that you brought that up, because that made me think about the next topic we need to embark on.
Hold on, before we go
Um,
to the next topic. Hold on, let me say one more thing before we go to the next topic, Frank. Sorry for
yes, sir. Yes,
interrupting.
sir. No problem. No problem. Go ahead.
We're gonna sum it all up. Okay. Lewis, what you were saying, I understand. As a parent, yes, you can discipline your kid. I have no problem as a parent. I'm saying is, if that person know what he was doing anything wrong, he wouldn't have been saying, "Hey, let's keep this in the Bahamas." He knew what he was did was wrong. It's not like
No,
because
no,
he
no.
in the
I
thing
don't think
that
he knew what he doing.
hold
With, I don't think. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish. Then I want to
okay, I'm
rebut.
saying in the whole thing, he said, "Hey, let's keep it what happens in the Bahamas stays, but don't tell
Yeah,
nobody." So
yeah,
my point, by
yeah.
him making that statement, he knew what he was doing was wrong from the very
No,
beginning.
no.
No,
I
I
that's
don't
not what that
think.
disagree.
I
means,
don't.
Corey.
People,
Yeah.
I think the coach. No, the coach made that statement because of this day and time and era we're in right now
Yep.
today, and
Yep.
because of
It
what
was
this woman
wrong,
just did
yo.
to him. No, it's
No.
not that
No.
nothing's wrong. It's
No.
that
No.
somebody will take this situation out of context because they're upset about. Let's just put a scenario out there because I don't know if this is a rumor. I don't know if it was the truth or not. My child ain't getting. I'm gonna use me. My child ain't getting playtime, so I don't like this coach. So the first little thing he do, okay, yeah, I got it. He out of there now.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a vendetta
Mm-hmm. Open
against the coach
vendetta.
already. Yeah, so that's no, no. And it's, in this day and time, everybody's filming with their phones and everything's taken out of context. Because
If
she
it,
said she felt like it was perverted. You made a statement saying that he pulled his underwear down. Those taking that stuff out of context and changing it to something in a situation that it's not. That's what happens in today's world. That's why the
Vincent.
coach made that statement.
Vincent. This is my problem with the whole situation. They only showed the spankings. They
mm-hmm.
didn't show what the coach said to those kids before he spanked them. They didn't show
Yep.
what he said to them kids after he spanked them. That man is a historic coach. He didn't just kick the door in and start putting belt to ass. That situation was brought to him in my mindset. It was brought to him. He analyzed it. He got his team together. He explained to them the seriousness of what they have done. And I'm going to give you the consequences. And I guarantee you, he is a no nonsense coach, just like us guys are. He probably gave them choices. Hey, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to put you off the team, or you're going to get your ass whooped. You make the decision.
Yep.
And them boys, without a
And,
doubt, said, "Nah, coach, I apologize. Man, I'm going to
yep.
take whatever
I take
punishment you
whatever
going to give me.
I take whatever
Whatever
punishment you're
you
gonna give
going
me.
to give me."
Because what we do know, and we see it all the time, these YNs, they both the teacher swing on them if they want, they swinging back.
Yep. Yep.
Like they fighting their teachers in. You can't take a cell phone and you get beat up by the kids.
By the kid for
You
trying to
call a
get their
bad
cell
play on
phone.
the basketball court and you
Right,
get beat up by the kids.
right.
No,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
understand totally where you're coming from. And me and you, and we're gonna bring up a story what happened with me, you, and Levy one time. I remember we was in Disney World when Levy tried you for the first time, and you wanted to whoop his ass
Nah, that
right
wasn't the
then.
first time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that
I
wasn't
never
the
said.
first time.
But
That
I
was
remember we
you
was.
was present for that time.
I was but I remember we was
Yeah.
in Disney World, and his son had started lifting weights. He started to feel himself. He was all muscular, and we in Disney World. He wanted to fight Vincent, and I knew Vince was ready to kill him. And I'm up there trying to hold Vince. I'm like, Vince, let it go. We out here with these white people. You know what I'm saying? Because soon as you lay hands on him, they're gonna lock you up. But I
Yeah.
saved him that day. But maybe 2 weeks later, he tried Vince again. I couldn't save him then. But that's
Let
another
me let
story.
me add let me add this caveat to it. Let me add this caveat to it because it's important to keep everything in context and to again a lot of the people like you guys are saying we're taking this out of context. And if you're in that coaching environment, and I've been on numerous trips, basketball trips with my son and on several teams. I coach players and I coach them. You tell them, you create the family environment. We are a family. These are your brothers. So what one does, everybody's responsible for. You're responsible for your brother. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, you are. If one fight, everybody fight. So it's everybody's responsibility to make sure that everybody comes and leaves safely. When you have selfish people on the team who put the entire organization, their entire team in jeopardy, you guys choose to handle that in-house and you deal with it. So from my perspective, when he says what happened in the Bahamas stays in Bahamas, it wasn't
In house.
to hide it. It was that, look, this happened here in amongst our team. We're going to deal with it with our team. And I bet you he might have called the parents of the kids he did it and told them. But from that perspective, nobody else was supposed to say anything about it because then he want no repercussions to come against those boys because he didn't want them to have a reputation about being those type of guys or dangerous
If
students.
anything was
So
said about it, it was said amongst those players and that
right,
coach. It did not go
we deal
outside
with
of
it
that.
here and then it stays
Yep.
here. And then we resolved it. You know the consequences of it. He didn't hide it. It'll be different if he tried to hide it. But clearly, someone had the phone. Somebody was recording, and clearly
Paulo,
other people were in
It's
the
a
room.
family affair. It's a
Paulo,
family affair at that
that
point.
was my take, John. Because Lewis, how many guys were on our basketball team, Lewis? 10, 12?
Shit, about 10 to 12. Yeah.
About 10. Okay, now with those 10 to 12 kids, this was recorded. Don't you know 11 of those parents didn't have a problem with it? Just one. Just one. The other 11 parents, if that one parent knowed about it, those other 11 parents knowed as well. The
Including
administration
the child
knew
who got
about it.
who we saw, including the kid who we saw get the spanking. That
Yeah,
parent had no problem.
yeah, the administration knew about it. A bunch of people knew about how this man disciplined them kids because this man has been a disciplinarian. For his name to be on that building, he has been a strong disciplinarian in that community, I know, for at least 30 to 40 years.
Dude,
And no
any
one,
athletic coach that I've ever been around has had to um, demonstrate and lead with strong authoritative behavior. You have to. You lead. You got a group of young men, and you're trying to teach them discipline within the sport of which you're playing, but also the life lessons. I mean, I started my kids out in sport just for those disciplines.
Mhm.
Like I didn't.
Yeah.
I remember I was just talking to my daughter because my youngest son he plays baseball. He plays basketball. He does a lot of little different things. But she was asking me about him playing football. He's a small kid, but I said, well, I don't remember. I didn't ever ask my kids, did you want to play? I told them we're gonna take you out. You want gonna play football? I went and got the stuff and took them out there, and they started the conditioning, the training, and all that stuff. My youngest one said, well, he wanted to play baseball. I said, okay, one thing I'm going to teach you right now is once you start something, you're going to finish. You're not going to get into this thing and then, okay, I don't like it. Okay, you might not like it, but you're going to finish what you start. And it's about just the discipline and the behavioral part of it. But I feel like the behavior that this young lady or the message that she just sent to her son, um, I think it was the wrong message for that young man.
Let
Yes,
me, let
and
me,
then
let me, let me say something real quick.
yes, sir.
All right. All of us are in a relationship. When you agree that a lot of times our wives or girlfriends, sometimes we may say certain things and they be like, you shouldn't, that hurt, that cut real hard.
Hmm.
You know, we don't even have to lay our hands on a woman, but sometimes it's certain things as men say that hurts even worse. So I'm bringing this to say, everybody remember Coach Shelby, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Coach Shelby didn't have no damn filter. Coach Shelby talked about whatever he wanted to talk about. If you wasn't having sex in high school, you learned about sex. Okay.
God forbid you came in his room with a hygiene issue.
Yeah, you
Right.
give
You
up
got
the
that cleared
leg,
up
Right.
right
you
away
didn't have
ASAP.
So how many times who went to the principal office and told on Coach Shelby? Coach Shelby talking about fucking. Coach Shelby talking about da 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 da. Not nobody. Not one person that I can remember.
Hmm.
Not one person.
Hold on.
So
Okay.
you
Uh,
you 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 had
Then,
you had you had Coach Chandler, which would do certain things. Then you had Coach Shelby. So again, I'm really interested on that young man. He was saying he was traumatized on seeing
Yeah.
that other his teammate get a whooping with a with
I
a
don't
with a
feel
with a,
like
with a,
those
with a,
were his
that's
words.
crazy to me. That's something
Yeah.
I don't
something
feel
ain't right
like
in their
those were his
household.
words.
well, okay.
Something ain't right
I'm
in his
willing.
household.
Let me ask you a
I'm
question,
willing
Lewis.
to put money on that. Those were not that young man's words.
No.
Pretty
Okay.
much.
You
I'm
probably
asking y'all
right.
this
Go
question.
ahead, Thor.
Go
Go
ahead,
I'm
ahead.
sir.
asking, okay, y'all brought up Coach Shelby, right? So
Yeah.
once again, we was in the '90s. We had Coach Shelby. Do you think Coach Shelby level of teaching will be accepted in today's society?
I do, and I think it's needed
It's
because
It's
needed
he
because
needed.
Yeah.
again,
It's
because
needed.
again,
he had no filter and he had no fear.
But what I'm asking though, Frank, that no filter, no, and right there, right in today's society with phones, do you think Coach Shelby will have his job for long?
Let me ask you this question.
No,
I'm
he
gonna
no,
answer
but
wouldn't.
that
but
question.
that's
Which
what we're talking about,
I'm a
Corey.
No, he
That's
wouldn't.
that's what's missing. We just what a
No,
I'm
lot
gonna
of
break
you're
things,
one
right.
of
real
my own
stories,
rules. I'm gonna
I'm
break.
real
just
stories,
speaking
I'm
here.
gonna break
real
one of.
situations in the real world. What these
I'm
people
gonna break
kids are
one of my
getting
rules, Corey.
is not real world. They're not they're not getting preparing them for the real world because nobody's gonna be soft on your kid. So that kid who can't stand to see somebody get a spanking, and it really wasn't a whooping because we sat outside somebody's house watching them scream and holler because their mom whooping their ass, and we
Right.
laughing and we just glad it ain't us.
Hey,
We
Right.
I've
all
been
experienced that.
outside, and I have been
Yeah,
the one where my buddies was outside.
right. And then you just come outside, you like, man, your mom whooped your ass. You like, yeah, man.
Shit, what you talking about? I
But
got a
it
whooping outside.
prepared us.
Shit.
And that
Them the
Joker get
worst.
when he get out in the real world and he have to work with real people and somebody check him or somebody come to him, he ain't gonna be able to handle it. He gonna
Hmm.
fold because he's not prepared. He's not prepared for the real world. The real
And
world
Hmm.
don't
so,
give a damn about your feelings. You see what I'm
and
saying? So
Paulo,
that's
and
what's missing.
Paulos,
Go ahead, Frank.
I'm happy, sir, that you brought this situation up because I need to pivot a little bit to a situation that Vincent told me about, and then Paulos you told me about, and I was shocked. Whereas some kids tried to break into a man's house, and the man defended himself and his home from foreign invaders, and those parents, unfortunately, lives were lost, and the parents want the man to be charged and for these crimes. Now, gentlemen, I want to know, do you guys think these are crimes, or do you think a lot of time in our community we want to make everything a racial issue? Um, I think people need to understand a human aspect of it, not the race, but the humanity of it. I have a right to defend my home. I have a right to defend my family. It don't matter if you got a mask on or you kick my door in. I ain't got time. I really don't have time to process if you're a man, if you're a woman,
Woman.
if you're a boy or a girl. I don't have time to process that. So, gentlemen, I really want you guys to chime in and tell me what you think about that aspect of these YNs, because that's what Lewis said, that when you don't discipline these YNs, they think that their arms are very long. They don't have a cutting spot where they'll stop it. Don't do this or don't do that. The discipline is gone. And once the discipline in the home is gone, and then you put forth the energy to find other means to discipline, you don't want that either. So now we run into these situations where these YNs think they can just do what they want to do. They can be lawless. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care what they take. They don't respect nothing, and they don't value nothing. So you guys tell me what's your perspective on those kids losing their lives, as well as the parents wants to sue or bring other legal actions against the person that was trying to protect his family and his home.
All right. I'm gonna play
Carlos,
the
you got a
video.
video? Okay, go ahead.
Yep, I got a video.
And I'm gonna refresh my drink while the video playing.
All right.
Yeah, with technical difficulties over there, buddy.
And we finna have to fire the producer.
Oh, sorry, y'all can't hear it. Oh, my
No,
plot.
sir.
My
We don't see
screen.
nothing.
Absolutely. And
Okay, y'all don't see
the
anything.
video on the screen is somebody kissing a leopard.
Okay, let me try it again. My bad. I'm listening to it. All right, let me try it again. Okay.
I'm gonna
Here we
need you to
go.
get it together,
Instagram.
sir.
Can y'all hear it now? Let's refresh it. Can y'all hear it now?
No, I still don't hear it.
Hold on. What about
See the video's playing.
A homeowner shot and killed 3 masked
There we
teenage
go.
intruders, even though he insists it was self-defense. The parents of the teens are still demanding that he be prosecuted. This happened in Rockdale County, Georgia. At around 4, 3 masked teenagers appeared in the neighborhood. They tried to break into a home to commit a robbery, but gunfire from inside the house brought them down. All 3 suspects died after being shot. 2 were pronounced dead at the hospital, and 1 died at the scene. Later, the families confirmed that among the victims were the brothers, ages 15 and 16. After the incident, the parents of these teenagers called for the homeowner to be prosecuted, saying he took the lives of their 3 sons. However, multiple eyewitnesses confirmed that all 3 teens were masked and armed. During the attempted break-in, the suspects fired at the homeowner first, and the resident returned fire in self-defense. Police also concluded that under Georgia's self-defense and stand your ground laws, the homeowner's actions were considered lawful self-defense. So do you think this was self-defense? Leave your thoughts in the comments.
Okay, gentlemen. This should sit real close to you, Carlos, because
this is my
this is
community.
close to your home.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
And I-
we're
and
gonna
I
let
actually
you
grew-
start out.
Unfortunately, it took those 3 men losing their lives. But from my perspective, the homeowner did what he's supposed to do. He had no idea who they were kicking his door in. He didn't stop you don't have time to stop to ask, hey, are you a minor? Hey, where are your parents? Why are you here? No, you don't have time for that. You have literally split second make a decision. There's somebody who's trying to enter my home. My job as a protector is to protect my home and those within my home. So, I think that the homeowner he was justified in it, and there's no, hey, shoot you gently, or somebody kicking your door in, let me try to wound you. No, I'm trying to stop the threat and eliminate the threat immediately. So if that takes me emptying my clip, that's what I got to do. So my perspective, I'm like, he did what he's supposed to do, and I'm surprised, and I can't see how those parents see it any other way. So that's my initial thoughts on that.
All right, Lewis.
Yeah.
Lewis, I want to hear your perspective. So we're gonna go in reverse order this time.
I mean, the evidence showed that the YNs shot first. That's what I heard. So by them shooting first, they give that homeowner the right to defend his house. Again, as a man, as a father, as a husband, it's my responsibility, no matter what happens to me, is to defend my home and defend my family. My daughter's bedroom is before my bedroom. So if somebody was to break in, her room comes first. So no matter what, my life, I'm gonna put my life on the line for my daughter, for my wife. It's not a doubt in my mind. It's not a question. It's not a what if or nothing. I'm gonna get you before you get me. Now let's talk about the parents wanting to sue. Again, the ages, I heard 15 and 16. Under Georgia law, those are minors. Under Georgia law, as a parent, you are responsible for your children. You are responsible to know their whereabouts 24/7. You send them to school, they're supposed to come home. If they have a part-time job, they work, whether they catch an Uber home, you pick them up, somebody bring them home, etc. But the first topic and this topic ties in together. All right. A lot of times, and I know we spoke on peer pressure. What was in that gentleman's house that they wanted? That's the major question. What was in the house that they wanted? Did they want a TV? Did they want guns? Did they hear about the gentleman had a safe full of money? Or did they just want to go in and kill? Okay? Because you got to have an agenda. Nobody goes into a bank to just kill. You go into to rob a bank to get money. You know? So what was their objective in kicking in that particular door? We don't know that because they all dead. It's not for the homeowner to ask, hey, pause for 1 second. Why are you kicking in my door? Versus the person to the left or to the right of me.
And see, Lewis, I think you got an excellent perspective. Vontora, we know that you being you and your present situation. So I want to know your opinion as to how you feel about protecting your property, protecting your life, your children's lives, as well as, these kids just doing what they want to do. And again, as Lewis just said, when situations happen, you ain't asking nobody for their ID to figure out how old they are. You just know they present a present danger to you. So tell me your perspective.
Well, my perspective, honestly, I agree with all y'all. Honestly, we all about protecting our home, but then I'm gonna do a spin on it for a devil's advocate. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. So when we look at the video, it was on the Ring camera. So he did have a chance to look and see what was going toward his way. So maybe he could have took a different approach about it. And not, and maybe lives could have been saved. And then I heard Lewis was saying about those kids, like they 16, 17, the parents responsible for them. But we know as black families, a lot of kids are faced with a single family household. So we don't know their parents could be single family, could be out working that night. So maybe that's probably why they was out there trying to
But
do
you,
stuff. It's called,
but you
go ahead.
still responsible, even if even if you're not there, you still
It's not an
responsible.
excuse.
No,
Yeah,
no,
that ain't.
I get you what y'all saying responsible, but if I'm a single mother or father, I'm trying to take care of two kids, and I got to work two jobs at night. Yes, you're right. I'm responsible, but I can't watch them 24/7. When they get 16 and 17 years old, they start to have their own little mind or envision what they want to do anyway. I don't care what kind of parent you are. You change the locks on your door. If you're working two jobs at night and nobody's at home at night, what you think what they're gonna do? They're gonna leave it at the
But
You
house.
should let the coach whoop their ass. That's what we
I
talking about.
just
You
was
should
finna
let the
say
coach
that.
whoop their ass.
I just was finna say that, Paulo.
you let the neighbor whoop their ass. If you
Okay,
see them coming outside when they ain't coming, whoop their ass.
now Benson, your turn. Jump in, bro. Hit him across the head.
All right, so yeah, because you talking to a single parent that was with two kids, that worked two jobs and worked thoroughly, but I was heavily involved in my kids' life, the conversations. They still joke now because I cut their head up until they cut their own head to high school. But those were the times we sat in the bathroom. I'm cutting their hair and we having conversations. We bonded. We went fishing on Wednesdays every Wednesday. Different things like that when I did have an off day or halftime. But yeah, there's no excuse. Even when I'm at work, I knew what my kids were, what they were doing, what was going on. And if they was out of pocket, or I found out they was out of pocket, the discipline came down. Something like that is unacceptable. It's very unfortunate that those young men lost their lives. It's very unfortunate that they made the decision that they made to cause them to lose their lives. But at no point would I fault the homeowner and say that he had any kind of obligation to figure out a different approach, because that different approach could have caused him in losing his life, and he's the victim.
So Vince, so you say he's a victim. Okay. I had the same situation where at night, even though to the fact I was asleep, there was some young little white ends, they was breaking into my car. So in the midst of them breaking in my car, good thing I was asleep. Even though it was my property, and I went outside and even shot at them. Even I found out now with the Georgia law, you can't even fight by me standing in the city limit. I can't even fire a gun up in the air. That's against the law.
Okay.
Even I shot
Okay.
animals against the law. You
But
get where I'm
let's
coming
look at the
from?
scenario now. You're talking about a car that's outside that you're not in, that you're not involved in. They were coming into his home, his dwelling where he was. Your life was in no way threatened.
But at the
They're
same
coming
time,
into his personal space. No, there's no those two scenarios are not compared.
no.
Listen,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying that car could be my livelihood that I go to work in every day.
it doesn't matter. That's not your life. It's a
It's my
way that you pay your
livelihood.
bill, but
It's
your
my
life is not in
livelihood.
danger. Your life is not in danger.
Who to say that guy life was in danger? They had
They
guns.
coming in
They had
his
guns
house.
at my. They had guns at my
Wait.
car. So you trying to say if they got guns at my car, they're not just as dangerous? And they having guns trying to knock
No,
at my door?
no. They fired
I'm
at him.
just saying,
In the
y'all.
video, they said they fired at him while they're trying to kick in his door. Your life is not in danger. You cannot spin that
They have
scenario
kicked
to
in the
be the
door. They
same.
never did get into the door. It looked like they shot through the door first. He shot through the door.
You okay? So you didn't see them kicking on the door. Now
Yeah, that's why I'm
see,
kicking
that's
on the
what I
door.
mean. How you take stuff out of context? You're gonna see what you want to see instead of seeing what actually took place.
I'm just saying.
Carlos, do we need
So
to
what's
play the video again?
Play the
what's
video
the
again,
point?
man. Play
What's
the
the point
video
you're
again.
trying to
Play the
make,
damn
Tor?
video again.
What's the point you're making? Because you clearly think the homeowner was justified, but you're saying it should your ability to shoot somebody should
No.
extend outside
I'm
your
not
house.
saying it's justified, but I'm just saying
Okay.
if we was in those parents' shoes, if your son or daughter got killed like that, you'll have a whole different perspective about it.
I
No,
will.
If
no,
I'm sure
y'all
I
say that
will.
no,
now, if
no,
y'all son or daughter got
no.
trying to kick in the door and they got killed, you're gonna have a whole different
Listen,
perspective.
no, I would not. No, I would
So
not.
you,
I
so
wouldn't.
you, so
I
you
feel the
say,
grief. I feel the grief and the pain of the loss of losing my child, but I would not have any animosity toward that homeowner.
No.
My whole thing would be, what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? How did I fail my child for him to make the decision to go try to kick in somebody's door? The
No,
sounds
accountability
good
no,
on
is on
paper
no
me
though.
hell.
for their
That
behavior.
sounds good on paper, but nobody don't really look at it like that.
No,
So
you
so
asking me.
each one,
You
so
asking me. I don't know
individually,
who you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking about or who you think thinks that way. You're asking me, and I'm telling you my perspective. There's no way I'm going to hold that man responsible for my failure. That's what it is. Those parents failed their children.
So let me
Go
give you
ahead.
another similar situation. So Tori, if your son go into a bank and try to rob it, and the security guard shoot him, you on the security guard's their fault.
You
if
hate
my,
the
if my first of all, if my son ain't shot that gun first, no, he shouldn't shot him.
You should have shot him. So your son got
No,
a
no, no,
gun.
no. I'm saying, if
You supposed
he shoot the gun, if he had the gun, if he ain't made no shot, no, you shouldn't shoot him. Haze his ass.
okay, let me give you another scenario.
He need to live to see another day.
Let me give you another scenario, and I'm gonna make it personal. I ain't gonna tell nobody what you work for, but you work where it somebody might consider it a high risk type of occupation. If you are working in the midst of doing your job, and some YNs run up on you with the weapon, and so you're not gonna shoot first. You're gonna wait till they shoot at you, and then you're
No,
gonna respond after that.
no, I'm gonna leave because number one, all that money is
Wait a
insured.
minute.
If
Wait a
you
minute.
can't
Now,
leave, what if you
I want
can't
you to be.
leave?
I want you to be honest.
It's
Hold on,
insured.
because me and Tori
It's
both
insured.
know. No.
So you
Stop.
run.
Stop. We talking about
I'm just saying like
real
this.
situations. We talking about
Hey,
real
let me put it back
situations.
up. Let me put it up.
Hold on,
Real
Paulo.
stories, real
Hold on.
situations in the real world.
Yeah, hold on, because we want to be truthful. Tori, know we have some heated debates. I don't like when you do that. You've been in a situation where it was visible and it could have went down had they made one wrong move. Am I lying? So
Not
don't
lying.
act like you would have made a different decision. Don't do that. Be honest.
But well, no, that goes back to the same thing I'm
I'm gonna
telling
call you
y'all.
out on your bullshit now.
That ain't no bullshit. I'm telling y'all no bullshit. Y'all acting like if y'all kids did that y'all would take the high road. Like, oh man, my son was bad. He deserved what he got. He deserved to got shot. I ain't never seen not one parent to sit back and
Dude, I
say,
just
yeah,
said
my son
I just
decided.
said no, I just said I would be heartbroken. I would be devastated at losing my child because I love them unconditionally, no matter what. I don't care if they was a crackhead. I don't care what. Listen, I can't dispose, but both of my boys are in law enforcement type of positions. One's in the military, one's in law enforcement. At any given moment, they could be faced with a situation where their lives could be taken or they have to take a life. So, no, I can't. In a situation, if you make the wrong decision, or my children, who I love with all my heart, soul, and everything I got, I rot in jail and burn in hell about. If they make a decision, like I said, I agree to no end about that decision they made. But at no point would I fault the victim that they chose. It went bad.
When you say
You,
it's grieving,
you,
do
you
you
fuck
say
with
that
the
maybe
wrong
they grieving? Do you say they maybe be grieving? That's why they want
They-
justice.
Tori, I think
that I
I'm
can't
finna.
answer that. I
Tori,
can't
I
answer
think
Let's ask you, Frank. How would you feel the
okay.
same way? If that was your son, how would you feel? Would you be open to say, hey, he had no business being out there?
Okay, I'm gonna give you a politically correct answer, and then I'm gonna give you a frank answer. If
We
I
don't
got
do
one
politics
son,
on this show, buddy.
I know, but I can't just jump into it. I gotta be open and honest. If my son do something that egregious and stupid, and he lose his life, I'm gonna be devastated because I'm gonna take the blunt of that misfortune. I'm gonna be hunted by that misfortune. But this is my honesty. Uh, you can't kill my son. I'm gonna kill your son. I don't give a damn if it's the police. I don't give a damn if it's somebody in the military. I don't give a damn who it is. You can't be in the United States of America and I can get to you and you kill my son. I'm gonna kill your son. And he was wrong for breaking in that man's house and the chips fell where they fell. But you can't live in Rockdale County and kill my son.
The
It ain't
thoughts
gonna happen
and
like that. I'm
Frank
sorry.
is not the thoughts of Uncle OG Worldwide. Just to put it out
Well, I'm
there.
being that's
Don't
why I
come for
said
us,
I had.
police.
But
FBI,
That's why I
so
had
don't come
to.
for us.
That's why
so
I'm
you
trying
right
to.
there with me then, Frank. So you right there with me then. So
Tori, I didn't never say I was against you. I was quiet the whole time. I really didn't have nothing to say. I really wasn't going to even speak on that situation, period, because I understand what you. And you know what? Vincent talking that bullshit, Tori, but that motherfucker think the same way I do.
that's what I'm
That
saying.
yeah,
Get
That's
over
why
here.
I
you know,
know. That's why
the
I know.
scenario.
Vic,
Hold on,
Vic.
let me talk then, since you put me in there. But it's the scenario. If my children decided to do something and bestow violence upon somebody else wrongfully for no reason other than their own personal gain or whatever it is, and make them a bit, no, I will not. I will
Okay,
have no
Right.
there's
so
a
hold on, let me finish. No, don't let me finish.
okay.
Will not feel like any need to take the life of the person that took my son's life. My son put himself in that position. I raised them better. I taught them better. And I'm gonna stand on that.
So
So
if
Yeah, I
your
ain't got a
neighbor do
problem.
that, Vic. So you
now,
say your neighbor do that, Vic.
hold on. I'm talking. I'm talking. Now, if my sons are in the line of duty,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand what Frank is hardly saying. If he goes out, he's doing his job, and he's trying, and somebody decides that they want to go left, yeah, okay. Now we're gonna go a different route with this thing. Now I'm writing a manifesto, and it's going down.
But
But
Vincent, your son,
we ain't talking about line of
yeah,
duty. We talking
yeah,
about
we ain't
this
talking
right
about
here.
that. He ain't talking about
Well,
We
that.
ain't
We
talking
ain't
about
talking about
line
that.
of duty. That's why I say, bro. I'm just saying.
We are
It's just
talking about that.
it's ask Lewis. Hold up. It's ask Lewis and Paulo. Lewis, if
go
your
ahead,
son or
Lewis. I'm gonna let
daughter did
Lewis.
that, get that
Lewis, I'm
Lewis.
gonna let Lewis. Go ahead, Lewis. Speak on it. I'm gonna let Lewis
Hey,
speak first.
y'all got to understand, we are fathers, man. So our mind and our thoughts are different from what a woman would say. Like, first of all, y'all heard me say, why were they trying to kick in that particular door?
Mm-hmm.
All right. There was an agenda. All right. They chose that particular door out of all the doors on that street or that subdivision. It's a reason why they kicked in that door. All right.
I get what you're saying, Lewis, but
I
I
get
got a
what you're
question
saying
for
on that.
you.
Hold on,
I
Lewis.
hear
I
you.
got.
Hold on, Jordan. I
Okay,
got
let
a
me ask
question
him.
with you, Lewis. Does it matter? Like, it doesn't matter. That's your son. Why
Yeah.
is your son kicking in anybody's door?
Correct. Correct. So I'm going to get to it. Guess what? He a lazy motherfucker. Understand that. What are you doing? Why you not working? Why you don't have a job? Okay? Instead of kicking in the doors, why you not at Kroger stocking up the shelves? All right. Why you not at DHL or Amazon picking orders? Why? Everybody got a gun. This Georgia. Now the
But Lewis,
underage, you ain't supposed to have a gun, but everybody got a gun. So my and Tori, you said they may be in a single household where the mother or the father is working two jobs. They don't understand the struggle what their parents are going through. So you're gonna put them through more grief to where they gotta try to bun you out or get a lawyer. They already working 2 goddamn jobs to pay the rent, put food on the table, so that you can watch Netflix. You know what I'm saying? I'm being real with you.
You can play on your PS5.
Right.
But
They're working 2 jobs. They're working 2 jobs so you can have Jordans on your feet.
But Lewis, I hear what you're saying though. You still answer the question.
What's the question?
Would you be in grief if he killed someone? Would you be okay with it?
We all gonna be in grief if your child die.
But I'm just saying,
that's natural. That's natural.
But I'm just saying, do you?
If my child was in the wrong,
you'll be okay with it, right?
Once that grief shit passed, if my child was in the wrong, meaning that you know better, I raised you better, I'm out here busting my ass so that you can have. You got if you my son, your ass got a job. You out there cutting grass, you washing cars, you doing something. You ain't just sitting in my house eating up my food at a certain age, and you not contributing. And when I say contributing to yourself, not so much my bills, because I'm gonna still pay my bills regardless. I'm gonna teach you to be I'm gonna teach you at a certain age responsibility. Yeah, to be responsible.
So in other words, you okay with him killing you? You okay with him killing your son, then, right?
If he was in the wrong. Yes. If he's in the wrong, I don't want him to die.
Why are we saying that man? Hold on. Why are we saying that man killed those kids? Those kids killed themselves. That's suicide. They went kicking in this man's door, not knowing what's on the other side of that door. I tell you all the time, you open Pandora's box, you better be ready for what come out that son bitch. Now, Frank said something that's make me, y'all know I'm very technical. He's making me think differently. If I got somebody kicking in my door and I take him out and realize, damn, this somebody, I gotta go on and get his pop too, because this motherfucker gonna come with this bullshit. You understand?
Hey, you taking out everybody, man.
That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. But y'all keep telling us right is wrong and right is right.
Everybody got family. Everybody got family.
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody gonna be pissed off.
The whole family.
Somebody gonna be pissed off.
They killed that's why they killed the whole family back in the day. They're like, so you won't come back for no revenge.
We heard everybody team. We heard Lewis. Vincent say you okay with it. Lewis say okay. It's yours, Paulo. Are you okay with it?
Nobody's okay with losing the life for their son, Tori. I don't understand.
I'm saying the whole point. Y'all saying the parents was crazy because they want justice for their son.
That's not justice.
Yeah, let me finish.
I'm just saying, if the shoe was on a different foot, on a different foot, y'all would still be like, you know what, that's my son. Regardless, you don't think he could have took every other measure. He took a crazy point. He just crazy on that shoe and right there had a Confederate flag on his house.
Doesn't
and they
matter.
said, we didn't like that, so we went.
Doesn't matter, Tori. Let me respond to you.
Go ahead, Carlos.
You're talking about justice, but what you're speaking about is not justice. It's really revenge, because the homeowner was justified in protecting his home. He didn't accost them in the street. They weren't outside minding their business. They were trying to enter his home, for, like Lewis said, for a particular reason. There was a particular target or item that they wanted, that they felt was valuable enough for them to basically take another person's life if they needed to.
While he was inside.
While he was inside. So here's the thing, Tori. Would I be okay with it? I wouldn't be okay with anything. But here's as parents, as a father, what our jobs and what our responsibilities are, and what I've kind of used as the foundation for all my kids. My job and my purpose is to protect you from yourself as long as I can, because at some point I'm not going to be able to protect you from yourself. So what I did and what I purposely tried to do was to give you the tools and give you the things that I know to help you navigate the traps. I didn't never want money or the lack thereof material things to be an issue that would cause you to go and try to take it from somebody else. Always want to make sure that you always had an opportunity to do things. You had experiences. You had the clothes. You had the shoes. You had the security of things, so that you understood that this material world didn't mean anything, and that you weren't going to try to take it from somebody else because you thought that that would make your life better. So I wanted to instill into them that this material world is not that important. It's not the main focus. Your life is more important than anything that you can acquire or get in this material world. You might think that it is. So I never wanted money or material things to be a driving factor in anything that you do in any decision. And I always wanted you to come back home. So it's particularly for my son. I want you to come back home, because there's nothing that you could acquire out there that's more valuable than your life. So for those young men, even though they weren't thinking about it or it wasn't instilled in them, they did not value their lives enough to not try to take whatever that material thing was. And I'm pretty sure in Rockdale County, that man, even if he would say he was the biggest drug dealer here, he wasn't sitting on enough to replace their lives. There was nothing that he had that they could have acquired that was going to change anything about their lives. So whoever their parent is or their parents are, did not instill that in them. They did not have that value system within themselves, that they knew that what I take from this man is going to change my life or change the trajectory of my life. Nothing that he had is going to change that.
Let me tell you something too about a little bit of criminal mind, Frank, thought process. And Frank, tell me if you agree with this. Because me and you talk about this kind of thing a lot. All right, so if I'm a thief, you're not going to be home when I'm coming in there. I don't want no threat. I got to make it as easy as possible. So I'm casing your house or doing whatever it is to make sure when I come, ain't nobody there. I can get in, get what I want to get, and get out. They did not care.
No, they didn't care.
They didn't give a thought. They didn't give a damn whether he was in there or not.
4 o'clock in the morning, people in their sleep. You know, people in the house at 4 a.m.
Yeah, they were doing a home invasion. They were doing a home invasion.
If I come in your house at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's because I know you. I done watched you, and I know you done left for vacation or something. I know this.
Yeah, they're doing home
I don't
invasion.
know what you got on the other side of that door. I always say, man, you don't jump out nobody's car at nobody, and you don't run up beating on nobody's door like you crazy. Because you have no idea what their mindset is, what they got, and what extremes they're willing to go to. But look at the age of these kids. Like, exactly, what would they do? What were you after?
You can't even drive,
and you lost your life in the process. I will agree I agree for those young men that lost their lives, but I cannot and I will not make that man. He was the victim. No, he's not an assault. He wasn't the aggressor, and I can't do that to him.
And
I don't care about the race, color, creed, none of that.
I promise you, gentlemen, I understand everything that you guys are saying wholeheartedly. I am 100% aware of what you're saying wholeheartedly. Everything that you guys are saying, I agree with it. It's just that I wanted to stay quiet because I knew my perspective and my take would be totally misunderstood, because I feel so sorry for those parents. With that parent, I feel sorry for that man, because taking a life is a hard thing to have to sleep with. Molest taking 3, and their kids and their brothers, all that gonna play a part in that man's psyche, and it's way worse for the parents, but it's gonna be just as troubling for that individual that had to pull that trigger.
Exactly.
I know he was protecting himself. I wholeheartedly feel for that situation all the way across the board. I did not want to have an opinion, but we do, gentlemen, we do real stories, real situations outside in the real world. And
that could have been any of us.
That could have been.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think he had to move. He had no choice. He had to move. You know what I mean? Because again, it was so high profile he didn't know what the repercussions were going to be on his family, or again, what those kids are affiliated with, if they're gang members, if whatever is going on. He basically had to uproot and move because somebody can come back, like you said, Frank, and come get at him
Yeah.
because of what happened.
And that's why, gentlemen, I pray.
Those parents are grieving. I think that's why they going that route. That's part of the grief, and they want to make him victim. They thinking like, okay, what did you have? What were you doing? Did you flash? How did you bait them? They thinking of ways to. They trying to find a way to blame him
Yeah,
for their
but there
children's
is no
behavior.
he is not to blame, gentlemen. That's why I said the man is not to blame at all. Because if you hit my door wrong, like Lewis said, if you kick Lewis door in, you're gonna encounter his daughter first. So he got to be on demon time when he come out his room. So
Absolutely.
so I understand, like, it's a very unfortunate situation, and I pray none of us have to deal with that kind of stuff, man. I want everybody to prosper. Um, man, this today has been one of the best sheets of music we as a group have played. Um, I absolutely love the how Tory come at things with his own different perspective, and he makes sure Vincent stay on his toes. I love the fact that Lewis tried to be the grown man in the situation. He stay calm at all times, don't nothing really rattle him. And
Unless you
then I
talk about
like,
LeBron.
yeah, then I like how Paulo's come in, man, and he just clear everything up, man. I think we got an excellent thing going on, gentlemen. I
Louis,
love
me
this
and you need
thing,
to
man.
talk after this.
I love it. No, no, hell no. We ain't doing no separation of
Hey,
state
hey,
and
ain't no
family, goddamn.
sidebars. Ain't no
Hell no, you gotta
sidebars.
talk. You gonna
No,
talk
no,
now, nigga.
it's about Lewis's situation. I told you, my mind just works tactically. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Once he made
yeah,
the
yeah,
statement, his daughter's room is the first room. Do
yeah.
your
yeah.
daughter know what to do in a situation like that to get herself out of harm's way, or do she know how to go demon time? You
Well, you know
understand?
what? Well, you know what, Vince? We really, like I said, man, it's the summertime. We do real stories, real situations outside in the real world, man. It's really time for us to get outside in the
True.
real world. We need to go to the gun range. We need to get these girls together and these young men together to see, even if we have an evacuate. God damn it, when we was in school and they had a fire drill, everybody knew what to do. In our homes, do we have those drills and things in place if certain situations happen? What our
You
family
bet
and
your
kids
ass over
supposed to
here
do?
we know what to do.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Well, I
And,
don't.
and
I
yeah,
don't.
in all
I
honesty, we
don't.
don't. And all
I don't.
honesty, we
I
don't.
don't. I
We
really
don't.
don't.
Yeah,
I don't. So
majority don't. Majority don't.
yeah.
I get it.
So,
I
bro,
get it.
that's what I'm saying. Those are other situations. Gentlemen, we got so much in this dad community that we have, dad supporting dads, men supporting men, that we need to embrace each other in all these different situations that we talk about. We got to start putting our feet forward to branch it off into the community. Because, Vincent, man, you talked about that this morning. And gentlemen, we got to get together and get these workshops started for these kids, these LNs, these YNs in our community, man, because it's needed. We watching them lose their lives. We watching them make decisions that, one, if you didn't lose your life, you were gonna spend the rest of your life in a cage. Those were your only two objectives, because you were gonna get caught. Regardless of the situation, you was gonna get caught. So those, you and your other two brothers, you just destroyed 3 lives. Right now,
Mhm.
4 lives were altered in these unfortunate situations. And gentlemen, um, I enjoyed this
Families.
conversation.
For families.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
two families,
Yeah.
4 individuals. Gentlemen, I enjoyed these conversations, man. We're gonna start this out. Um, we're gonna start out with you first, Vincent, doing your closing remarks, and I want today. Today, gentlemen, I want Bun Tory to close this thing out the right way. I want him to be passionate. I want him to say how he
Look at it.
feel
Look at it.
with no filter. However you want to close it, whatever you got to say at the end, I want you to do it. Vincent, take off. And Lewis, you next. Then
All right.
Paulos, then you, Tory.
I want everybody, and you know how I am about friends, family, the circle, and close knit. I think about y'all. I think about y'all children like I think about my own. If they're ever around me, I'm gonna protect them as if they were my own. And I hope everybody, the feeling is mutual. Um, like I say, it's unfortunate that those three young men lost their lives like that. We got to do better as parents. We got to do better getting our point across and making sure we understand the mindsets of our children when they, leave and come home every day, so they'll make the right decisions. They know how to say no. They don't fall victim to peer pressure, or they're a leader in the crew and stop the other ones. Give them the right type of peer pressure to keep them from making those crazy, stupid decisions that'll put them in those situations. We got to do better in our community. We got to do better as Black men.
Lewis?
Oh yeah, man. So basically, with my children, I pretty much govern them like I do at work. You know, I tell my people at work, I don't fire you, you fire yourselves. Why? Because I've given you the ground rules. You know the do's and don'ts. I give you some rope. Even when you fail, I try to lift you back up. So if one of my kids, male or female, daughter or son, fall victim to um, gun violence or drugs, alcohol, any of that, they can't say daddy didn't tell me so. Daddy didn't show me the way. Um, Pretty much all of us are grandfathers. We have to instill that in our grandkids also. And I know a few podcasts ago we talked about legacy. That's where we have to pass it down. We can't be the only five talking the way we talk. Yeah, a few of us may have different perspectives on a certain topics, but at the end of the day, we don't want our seeds to be the reason why the environment, or I shouldn't say the environment, but what's the word I'm looking for? Um, Things are happening in our neighborhood, and it's our seeds, it's our bloodline. All right. I don't want my kids to be shot, killed, or whatever. But if they put themselves in that position, all because of peer pressure, all because they want to be cool and down with the cool kids, it is what it is. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna wish they never done it. But I can't blame the person on the other end of that, because my seed could make harm, or I'm sorry, yeah, I'm rambling
Yeah,
because
you're talking about menace to society. That's what you're thinking
yeah,
about.
man, it's a deep topic, man. Like we can talk for hours on this, man. I don't want my kids to be that person, and we got to constantly talk to them, sit them down, see what's on their mind, see what they're listening to. I mean, hey, we could have branched off and talked about rap music, the music. A lot of times these kids listen to music and it filter into their brains and they think it's okay. You know, Young Thug got off on that Rico case. If y'all watch the news this week, the last individual in that case to close it out, he got 75 years, 40 to serve, 40 to serve. Young Thug was just at the BET Awards, living his best life. That's
All
all I
right,
got to
bro.
say.
All right, Paulo, take off.
fellas, as always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Um, it's an important topic. It's important what we're discussing. As we spoke on it the first time, um, we have to be open to allowing the community to be involved in how we're raising our children. As we stated before, we can't be with them 24/7. So we have to give away some of that authority to people who we, have vetted and feel that are safe, people who know what they're doing, to people that we trust. That's the way our parents did. It wasn't just our parents, it was our uncles, it was our teachers, it was our community. Anyone could discipline your child. Anyone could give your child some directions. And that helped us to, navigate through life because we always knew that somebody was always looking over our shoulder and someone would report back. So much so we need to adapt that in our environment. If you don't have those type of people around you, you need to be finding those type of people. You need to find those type of role models, those type of people. This is Thursday before Father's Day weekend. If you're and your child's father not together, you need to find other individuals who can provide those type of environments for your kids, coaches, teachers, male mentors, anybody who can install in your child or pour into your child when you're not there and who is an extension of you. So let's not pretend like everybody does this in a vacuum. Father's Day weekend, fathers are important. Men are important. Very important for men to be involved in kids' lives, men and women, particularly black men. So for black men, we need to be involved in our kids' lives and the community's lives as well. So when you have a black male role model who's doing things and trying to instill in your child, step back and let him do that. There's never enough love for your child or somebody to give your child some direction. And so if you're not open to that, then you're the problem. You're the problem. And when your child goes off the path, as many of them do, and decides to kick in somebody's door, you cannot fault that individual for protecting himself in his home because he was doing what he was supposed to do. And if your child had a father in his life, he will let you know. You kick that man door in, be prepared for what's going to open behind that one. So that's all I got to say. Don't be so closed-minded that can't nobody tell you about your child. Can't nobody tell you or give you wisdom. Because wisdom is there. It's out there in the community. You just got to be open to receive it. Because, again, we all know we've been deceitful as children. Children try to get around it, and we try to do that. But when someone tells you about your child, believe them. Little man is bad. You know your child is bad. So when someone tells you what little man did, say thank you. Next time you see him doing that, you do this, that, and that, and I give you the authority to do that, and let man know. If you're doing that outside in the community, Miss such and such is going to check you, or Mr. such and such is going to check you, and you better listen to what they say because they're an extension of me. So that is what we're missing in our community. That's what we're missing. Missing the community, the each one teach one, the village mentality. We have been so isolated that we feel like can't nobody tell us about our child, but someone can tell you about your child, and you should be open to receive that. So
Thank you.
happy
Tori?
Father's Day to those fathers out there. So happy Father's Day weekend ahead of the chance. If you're watching this out there, happy Father's Day weekend.
All right. Triple OG. Take us out.
Well, I'm not gonna really say too much. What was said in the podcast. What Paulos just indicated was well spoken. I just want to end it like exactly what Paulo said, and just happy Father's Day to all the men out there. And that's it for me.
What? Vincent, what going on?
Hey, you better take it as a win. Take it as a win, Frank. You can open the Pandora. Them bitch tell you when you open Pandora's box.
Bro,
You gotta be prepared.
if I didn't know no better, I said we broke him. I said we broke him down.
Hey man, is your throat working right now? What's going on? Your vocal cords swole?
You take your temperature. You need some nitrogen. Talk about Mr. Controversy ain't got no word.
What happened just did?
I'm throwing in the towel.
Tour, man. Like I said, bro, right there, cause they're along with classic. I was not prepared for what you just did, man. Like I said, man, every time we get together, man, y'all surprise me in a different way. That's why I tell everybody all the time, man, I love y'all. And I want everybody to understand that and know that, because a lot of people don't get told that enough. And I appreciate you guys, man. And to next week, family, we coming at y'all again every week. We're gonna have a different topic, a different discussion. And I love y'all, and we out.
All right, before you go, shout out to her. He'll be back with us sooner or later. So we
Mhm.
just want to show him some love. Shout out her. We see you, boy.
Yes, sir. Hey man, I'm gonna
Yes,
give you.
sir.
Everybody gonna reach out, bro. We're gonna give you a call.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, bro.
All right.
All right.